So Brian Acton was a software engineer who graduated from Stanford, and Acton worked first at Apple and then at Yahoo for probably about a dozen years or so until about 2007 he decided to travel to South America for a year with his friend and colleague Jan Koum. And on the return, both of them applied to Facebook and Twitter for jobs, but both were rejected. Now, Acton tweeted in May 2009, he got denied by Twitter headquarters. That's okay. Would have been a long commute. And a few months later, in August 2009, he followed up with another tweet. Facebook turned me down. It was a great opportunity to connect with some fantastic people. Looking forward to life's next adventure. And his next adventure changed the world. In that same year that he got rejected on his birthday, he co-founded WhatsApp, along with his friend Jan Koum in Silicon Valley, California. Now that app grew exponentially. It's probably on your phone right now. Its success was unparalleled. So much that in 2014, Facebook decided to buy it from him for a staggering $19 billion. So my friends, your early failures can be your greatest successes. Your early failures can be what you need to become really the success that you're looking for. It's not uncommon for people to feel like they failed when they don't achieve their goals on the first try. But if you take a step back and look at it from a different perspective, you'll see that your early failures are actually your biggest teachers. So what do we talk about? They teach you what doesn't work and help you find newer ways to succeed. So really every time that you fail or perceive that you failed, you're one step closer to becoming the successful person you know you can be. So don't give up just because things didn't go your way that you wanted them to at first. So instead, use your failures really as motivation to keep you going and to reach your ultimate goals. You'll be glad you did, and the world will be glad you did, as in the case with Brian and Jan. What are some of the earliest failures that you can remember? I want you to just actually think about that just for a moment, because everybody has experienced failure in their lives, and I'm no different. Some of our earliest memories of failure involve things like getting an F on a high school British literature test at school, which is what I did. What happened to me, I was, not given the promotion at work that I really felt that I was the best candidate for, but I just wasn't. And at the time, it felt like an absolute devastation. But looking back, they have taught me some of my most valuable lessons I've ever learned. They taught me to persist through the tough times and never give up, and it kicked off my curiosity. It kicked off my curiosity in science and exploration and learning and different ways to do things and different ways to become more productive. In essence, those who go on to become my greatest teachers were sparked by those very early failures. So ask ourselves, how do you feel about failures at a time, and how do you feel about them now? And again, these are good things to reflect upon, because at the time I experienced those early failures, it felt like such a huge setback for me. I wanted to quickly push past that mistake, but I could barely keep, what really was at that time was a devastation for me. Looking back now, I realized that those failures were essential steps into my journey toward my successes, and my teachers, as I said, weren't there when I was succeeding. They were present during the tumultuous times of fear, doubt, and frustrations. And these moments allowed me to grow and to become the person I am today. And failures, they can contribute to our successes later on in our lives. Early failures should be seen as an opportunity for growth, and I learned some amazing lessons from those failures I experienced very early on. And I continue to fail every single day, and that's fantastic for me. But what impacted me even more were the real gems I took away from those failures that have helped me succeed later on. Instead of really wallowing in my misery, and it was hard at the time, but instead of wallowing in it and defeat, I instead developed a keener sense of resilience to never give up, no matter how difficult the challenge may seem. Now, every fail was like an extra lesson that taught me how to approach things differently and challenged me to come up with really creative solutions. These solutions and these skills that I've learned have been invaluable toward my success ever since. And are there any ways in which you have to ask yourself where failure has contributed to your success and helped you grow as a person? Because failure has definitely been a major source of growth in my life. In addition to the greatest lessons it can teach us, failure has also set me up for future successes by forcing me to really confront challenges head on in an effort to create a positive change. So when I fail at something, I'm often left with more of an intellectual curiosity that pushes me to ask even harder questions and explore opportunities that might otherwise have gone really undiscovered had I not had that failure. So this knowledge it really helps develop my ability to personally assess situations from different angles and encourages creative problem solving when faced with difficult challenges. Now, failures may be frustrating and disappointing in the moment, but looking back, I've been able to understand it as one part of my overall journey toward my success. So, what would you say to somebody who is facing failure right now, and how can you use it to their advantage? Because if you're feeling like a failure right now, don't despair. It's actually a good sign. It's a great sign actually that you're pushing yourself to take risks and try new things. So part of the process of growth is learning from your mistakes and getting back up when life throws you a curveball. And boy, does life throw you curveballs sometimes, but failure can become one of your greatest teachers. Instead of seeing every setback as another failed attempt, try to view it as an opportunity to learn something new. Adopting this approach will really help you appreciate obstacles for the valuable lessons that they can give. And it might even teach you something about yourself, really, in the process. And isn't that fantastic? Isn't that really the whole point? So there you have it. Some of my earliest failures and really how they've contributed to my success later on in life. I mean, I'm not saying that failure is a good thing, but it's definitely something that can be used to your advantage if you let it. If you're facing failure right now, don't see it as the end of the world. Learn from it. Learn from your mistakes and use them. Use those failures to make you stronger. Failure is only permanent if you give up. And with that, I'm going to end today's session. Because remember, failure is only permanent if you give up. So hope you enjoyed today's morning rounds, my friends, because again, if you've enjoyed this morning rounds, please make sure you share it. Share it on your social media, share it on Facebook or on YouTube, wherever you see this content. Please make sure you share it with a friend or a colleague, because that's how we get more eyes and ears on this content, which I really hope has helped you. And I'm really hoping I can help some others along the way too. So I'll see you right back here for another morning rounds before your morning rounds. I'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.